and welcome to another episode of Thought That Get Results. I'm Everett Weber Herbert, and as per usual, we're here every Tuesday evening with something that at least we think is of community interest and or of some concern. And if you think that you have something which fits into that category, you'd like to find out how you can be a part of the program, well, why don't you drop us a line, address it to the Let's Talk program in care of Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195, Charlestown in Nevis, or give us a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. And by the way, those will be the numbers you will use to be a part of this evening's discussion. Again, thank you all very much for joining us. This is your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. With regard to your participation in the show, we encourage you to call in on the numbers listed 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. You have a question or a comment? Well, perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper, write it down so that you are well organized. And when you get in the show, you take as little time as possible so we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem not within our broadcast standards, but we encourage you to always be forceful with your point. Also, you can follow us on our live stream on YouTube. Go to YouTube, subscribe to Vaughan Radio, and you have us. Or you can follow us on our Facebook page at Vaughan Radio to get the video stream live. Thank you all again. Your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. Tonight, 50 years ago, come August 1st, 2020, the MV Christina sank on August 1st, 1970. Over 200 persons perished, and one of the persons who survived is with us. He's going to talk about his second book on that tragedy. He will tell us also about his experience and his life thereafter. Ozzie Tyson is from Cotton Ground Village. He was on the MV Christina on that fatal day. Ozzie, it is good to have you once more. Good evening.
Good evening, Rebel. Good to be back.
We're going to get to you in just a bit. We're just making a little adjustment here for Ozzie Tyson, and then we will be bringing him in. But as I indicated, he, along with a number of persons, survived to tell the story and to live well after. As I indicated, it was 50 years ago that this tragedy happened, and we'll get the background on the Christina. And again, I encourage you, if you know somebody who might have just missed it and forgot to tune in, call them, especially the younger folks, so that they can be a part of this historical event. I think we've got Ozzie, Mr. Tyson, sorted out now. Ozzie, good evening.
Good evening, Rebel.
Okay, it's so good to have you once more, and especially being against the backdrop of you being a survivor of that tragic event. Let's begin here. And especially with the folks in mind who were not around 50 years ago when it happened.
All right.
The MV Christina was a vessel.
Yeah, government ferry.
Yes, that travels between St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah.
The main ferry that took passengers.
That's right.
Okay. Can you describe for us what it was like? When I say what it was like, it was a two-deck boat?
It was a two-deck boat, yeah, upstairs and downstairs. And it was, it was actually supposed to carry 155. It was to carry 155 passengers. Can it?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I was saying Ozzie. It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was the two upstairs and downstairs boat, you call it, back in them days. Double decker. double decker, and he was only made to carry 155 passengers, you know, but he had more than 300 and the boat went down.
So it was basically double.
Yeah, basically more than double.
Yes.
More than double.
And included in the passengers
Yes.
was a lot of cargo.
Lot of cargo. Rum, you had maize, sugar, you know, flour, molasses, etc., etc. And lot other stuff, household stuff, rice, everything.
And for the benefit of the persons again who were not around, that was the boat that was, carrying most of the stuff.
Yeah, that was the main ferry.
Yes.
That, like we have so many now, was the main ferry back and forth. Leaving out the lighters, then they had the lighters, the Sakara, the Princess,
Right.
the Wagaman, and they had Unity from over by Cliff Dwellers area.
Yes.
But on Saturday, there's only one boat.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you can compare it to the size, which one of the boats would you say it was approximate to the size of? You have the Mark Twain. You had we used to have we have the Carib Express now, but we had the other.
And the Carib Queen.
Carib Queen.
Similar to the Carib Queen, but only said it was 2 floors.
Yes.
Yeah, it's upstairs and downstairs, but similar, maybe around the same length.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there were a lot of folks, mostly Navisions, on that boat coming over. What would and it was a holiday weekend.
Yeah, it was the weekend before Emancipation. Well, that was the 1st of August. And funny thing, 50 years after, you're going to be the 1st of Saturday, going to be the 1st of August again.
Yeah, I was noting that.
You're noting that?
That it fell on a Saturday, and it's a Saturday again.
That's right.
Okay, and normally on that August weekend, a lot of folks would have gone to St. Kitts. What they normally will do, so many folks going to St. Kitts.
They normally go shopping, and some of the turnaround that went going on, like on the Friday, people are going to, some of them go down on the Princess Royal, they go down on all those boats.
The turn hand.
And they sleep over.
Right, the turn hand is a phrase that the younger folks don't know. Meaning
to break it down for the young people, it's like, they're going to sell like limes and guineas, more like fruit vendors. That's the name for it now, it's fruit vendors, but that's what they normally does. And the ladies going to sell lots of coconut.
Okay.
To get, here you still got hundreds of thousands of coconut trees.
Yes.
And when we were growing up, river. Yeah, but now, they hardly have any. So that's what they used to do.
Okay. Not that I'm looking news or anything, but how old were you then?
Well, I was 11, 9, and 12. So.
What were you doing in St. Kitts?
Well, I used to go St. Kitts, even when I was 7 years old, going to sell limes and stuff, to buy books for school every summer. That was the thing for young children.
Yes.
Because otherwise they don't have any means of support. My father went on to England when I was a baby, and he never really looked over his shoulder.
Yes.
So you had to start helping your mother work out. She was a single parent, you see. So you have to start working as a little kid.
See, so that's very important there. So at the age of 11, you were off to St. Kitts.
But even before that,
yes,
even before that,
and you were selling. Who were you in the care of?
Well, when I normally go down, I sit. They had some ladies from Ginger and the Freeman sisters from Rolling Mountain. They would be selling, and I would sell it right beside them, so they used to look out for me.
Right.
The Freeman sisters was 2 sisters, and they had a sister-in-law. 3 of them went down.
But you almost sound as if you were basically on your own with these adults.
Yes, I was on my own. I had to catch a boat on my own, yeah.
Yes,
I was on my own.
And these folks who looked out for you.
Yes, and I look out for them to go help them carry some of the load.
Yes, at 11.
At 11, and even before that, I started going there since I was 7 years old.
Yes. So you can fit a story that I heard that a youngster was maybe 7, 8, 9 and had to take care of the family.
Yes.
The papa passed.
I will go down. I would sell, since long before the Christina went down, like limes, they sell guineas, they sell mangoes, and they return out by like rice and chicken, and butter, onion to bring back home for the house.
Yes.
Yeah, normally does that. Yeah.
So in other words, you were a little man.
Yes. And I had no choice because my mother was a single parent.
Yeah.
And she had six mouths to feed besides herself.
And where were you within the 6?
I was number 4.
You were number 4.
Number 4, yeah.
Yes.
I got 2 younger brothers, both of them perished on the ferry.
Oh, really?
And my sister perished too, who was my father's side.
Yes. So the Freemans who used to look out for you, what became of their fate? With the parish?
All of them died. The 2 sisters and sister-in-law. Remember, I had a guy named Brother Freeman,
Yes.
where his wife drowned, his first wife drowned, Christina, along with 2 of his sisters.
Okay. Let us and you wrote a first book
Yes,
and you have that account in there.
yes.
Okay. Let's go to you finish selling on the Saturday and you head to the boat.
Yeah, to bring it together. My mother went down on a Wednesday. She and my 2 younger brothers. She was the turn-out bride because she was a seamstress. And she sleep by her knees, Mrs. Donovan Tyson, up in College Street, God. So we all meet up on the pier. You see?
Yes. And what did you notice anything different? Because you normally travel on a Saturday. When you got to the pier on that Saturday, did you notice anything different, abnormal to the other Saturdays? Was the crowd bigger?
Well, the crowd was much bigger.
Yes.
And everybody wanted to get home. A much bigger crowd. Everybody wanted to get. I see a lady, one of my cousins named Adolpha, Maine, and she threw her daughter on the boat named Dawn. And then she never been the same after Christina went down. She sent her up to her mother in Nevis, in Cotton Ground too. And Dawn never make it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Dawn made that. She never make it. She was about 6 or 7 years old, no older than that.
Yes.
But on the boat and tell a little lady, take a lady named Francis from Cotton Ground. Take care of this little girl and take her to her grandmother.
Yes.
But neither she nor Francis nor Francis' grandson made it. They all perish.
Oh, really? You just said that she put on the boat and she said to a friend or
to a neighbor.
That neighbor take care of her.
Neighbor neighbors.
Which is telling me something of the older age. It took a village to raise a child.
Yes,
so it seemed as if it was that was expressed in those days. Because you explained how the Freemans looked after you. Right, and then this person said, take care of her, that's a neighbor, and so on.
Yeah, that's how it used to be.
Yes.
You had to look out for your neighbor.
Well, was there any congestion, pushing and so on? Because we got
not really.
So
people gone, but it's what pointing they overload the boat. Because he just sell out the ticket for the government at the time, and then the rest money going to his pocket.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's because if 155 was the government had supposed to carry, and he had an over 300, we didn't think it was money guide.
But on the other hand, though, he could have been maybe expressing kindness.
Maybe.
Because a lot of folks
wanted to
get over, and you had indicated earlier that, it was the only boat on that Saturday.
Yeah.
And it was the last boat out. So, and sometimes people do that. They go against the regulations because they want to be kind.
Maybe if you had make 2 trip, it might have been easier.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe make 2 trip might have been much easier because you had to know what 200 people.
When people got on the boat and the boat was about to leave, did people express anything?
Well, my sister was sitting right next to me. And it was Anita Leibert. She's not even on the plaque. So there's more people should be added to the plaque. And she gave me a piece of cake with icing. It was a piece of there was plain cake with white icing on top of the cake. And said, brother, if the boat sink, I'm gonna drown. I don't know how she know. I can't swim. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. She tell me if the boat sink, she gonna drown because she can't swim.
Yes.
Yeah. She raised up in Fountain Village. You see. And my grandmother would allow her to go to the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured something gonna happen. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
And when she said that, but you could swim at 11.
I could swim even before that. Yeah. I could swim even before that. Yeah.
So you were not, yes. Go ahead.
When you go up in Cotton Ground back in those days, the older boys will pull you out in the water, and you gotta try and make it back in.
Yes.
Yeah, all the girls pull you out too.
Yes.
And you got to find your way back to the shore.
Yeah.
But people have been fountain now. Some people go to the beach, but the older people are more concerned that the children go to the beach and then get drowned. But down in Cotton Ground, we all had dress up, they had all young people had to swim.
Yes.
And probably quite a grown cast for a few years there as well.
Yes, yes. And so were you fearful of anything? The boat seemed overcrowded. Was it the first time? Is it normal?
Well, it's been overcrowded before because sometimes there's been water. There's a little more water up to my knees.
Yes.
But this time you take in more water as you leave the Bastille Road still coming up to Nevis. And as you get further up, you take in more water. Because it was built at they call it the watermark line, the line, So it was way overloaded. Yeah.
And so that people would understand the trade that was going on then between St. Kitts.
Oh, yeah, it was a very good trade.
Yes.
Very good trade. And a lady from Cotton Ground, she named Alga Jones. And in summertime, she thought was in class with me named Vida. I wrote a new book dedicated to those people. And they were going 3-4 times a week. It was money we're making.
Yes.
Yeah, because they had lots of mangoes, they have lots of limes, and they got guinea and sugar apple. So they would make a journey 3 times a week. Yeah, 3 times a week. So then that's how it used to be. They used to go down 3 times a week. Some people go twice a week. Like Miss Diane, Miss Rosalie, they call her Rose Jeffers. She used to go like every Friday, sleep over sometime, and come back on Saturday afternoon to sell the jelly.
Yes.
Because some day they don't sell off the same day. So you got to stay the night over with your family.
Yes. So that you're coming over and the boat is taking on water. And what's the atmosphere on the boat at that time?
Well, some people are crying because they start to get scared. You got a boat taking full of water, you start to get scared. Some people are crying.
Yes.
But I didn't see my mother crying either. My brothers were right next to she. And I was sitting on the right side my sister. And when the boat taking, I never see she again. The boat, as they get in the channel, they take in more water. You see?
Yes. How were the seas?
The seas are kind of choppy, coming on to this time of day, it's coming on to the hurricane season.
Yes.
But not really choppy that bad, but we're kind of choppy. But being a boat overloaded, water went straight inside.
Yes. Now, so you're coming about how many minutes from the time you would estimate, from the time it left the Bastille Road Stead?
To get in the channel, close to half an hour, because you normally take almost an hour to reach Nevis.
Yes. And so was it hugging the coast, or it was?
No, to me, if you're hugging the coast, more people would have been getting saved. We're way out. I said, why couldn't you sail so far out? We're way out from shore. Go way out. But you're going to see Nevis clear, because we're right in the channel. Yeah, you're going to see Nevis clear.
So people began screaming, crying.
Yeah.
Were they moving around?
Well, I didn't see too much moving around. I didn't see too much moving back around, maybe 1 or 2, It was so much room overloaded, so everybody got to stay right there. The other gets space to set up. Because all the seed were full.
Yes.
So a lot of people were standing up, you see?
Yes. Was it therefore then it began to list on one side, or
not to me, not to my account,
yes.
Not to my remembrance.
Yes.
It just taking in water, and the stone like it started going more down, I went down from the stone.
Yes.
And I was downstairs in the back, the back section was cut out.
Yes. Then it's going down, and you did what?
Well, it actually went down with me, Mr. Webber. It went down with me. Yeah, because the backside, the stone went down first.
Yes.
And I had to swim through and get out on top of the surface.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and at that time, the deck was still up on the water. It didn't went down yet.
Okay.
And a lot of people climbed up on the deck. A lot of people. Maybe if we gotta do that, we get to save through that. And then the deck went down after that. Yeah, but, make a noise on it. The deck went down after that. But the stone went down first, and I was right in the stone. Me and my mother, my 2 brothers, my sister, Miss Diane mother, and Alice, a lady from Jessup. You remember Fred? Fred used to be a boat captain.
Yes.
Fred Huggins, the Fred mother. She was right there. And then they had a lady named Keith Atherton, aunt was there too. They used to call her Emmy Atherton. She was there. And her grandson, which is my uncle Carlton Tyson's son, his name was Rodney. He also drove on the boat. My mother nephew.
Okay, so the stern, just to be clear, because some people wouldn't understand the boat's terminology. That's the back.
That's the back. Yeah. The stern is in the back and the deck is in the front.
Yes.
Yeah, you see? Yeah, young people can understand.
Yes, so
in the front.
So the back went down first.
Went down first and I went down with it.
Went basically airborne.
Yeah, airborne.
And then continuing,
yeah. A lot of people climbed on the deck, at the front part of the boat, and then a few minutes then the deck went down.
Then you said you swam.
Yeah, I was swimming. Yeah, I was swimming. Yeah.
To the surface.
To the surface. Get up, you gotta swim up because you gotta dive and come on top the surface. Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually went down with me.
Yes. And around you, what was the scene around you? Other persons were coming up.
The scene around was a lot of people already dead. You know, already people already drowned. They had a lady from Craddock Road. What do they call she? Mrs. Archibald. You know, late Mrs. Archibald, Joni, adopted mother. His aunt, she came from England. I think they call her BB, but she was a powerful lady.
Yes.
She just came out of England, and I saw her body floating in the water. I know shit before.
Yes.
Yeah, and many others.
And obviously there were some of the cargo that's
it's all floating around, and some of the folks them like Alita, but they just somebody throw a bag of breadfruit, and then they had a guy in Cotton Ground. His name is Evanson Davis. His grandmother drowned in the boat and his brother. And somebody threw here a bag of breadfruit and when that they call it breadfruit.
Oh really?
Yeah, the breadfruit saving.
Yeah.
You see?
So a lot of people were in the water. Were they screaming?
Oh yes, a lot of screaming. A lot of noise.
Praying even?
Praying too. I was praying, Psalm 117, I think I told you so before.
Yeah.
Then I'd go down and see each other in great waters. I could never forget that.
Yes.
I was learning that psalm from teacher Powell. She's retired now, Miss Hanley from Jessup. You know, John Hanley mother, she was teaching me as a kid that, and I could never forget that.
So you were quite a man. You knew how to sell stuff. Mm-hmm. You knew how to swim. You knew the Bible.
Oh yes.
So you used to go Sunday school.
Yes, I had to go Sunday school.
Yes.
I had to go church every Sunday morning too.
Yes. Now, then what? Some folks began to swim.
Some folks began to swim. A lot of people couldn't swim. They drowned quickly.
Yes.
I see my brother. He was 6 years old in Kirsty. He was only 6. That's my mother last year. His body was floating in the water. I didn't see him drown.
Yes.
But I see the body floating, and I know it's he.
Wow. And did you get any instructions from anyone? What did you do as you got up and you saw the scenery around you?
I just gotta keep swimming until my uncle fishing boat passed by and I get picked up. You see?
You were swimming heading towards
Nags Head. And then my uncle fishing boat was coming from sinking. That was Desmond Tyson. But he was on the boat. Somebody was working for him.
Yeah.
And, this same young lady here, one of her great uncle named Peter Toki, but his name was Peter Maynard. He was Chip uncle.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was he came up from sinking with a few people, and he picked up 19 survivors. I was number 18.
Oh really?
I was number 18. Then he picked up Mike, who had get killed in Catron some years ago. His name is Martin. He is number 19. Yeah, he was on the boat. He was on the boat.
And so there were perhaps a number of fishing boats hovering around.
Yeah, well then thing came after the boat from Cliff Dwellers, the Sea Hunter.
Yes.
With Captain Skeed, well, he were working on the boat with Mr. Miller, and they pick up quite a few survivors. Cliff Dwellers, they can see everything from the elbows, and the boat went out with speed and pick up a lot of people. But I was the first person that come ashore, along with Miss Yuela Budgeon from Jessup. Your granddaughter worked with you.
Yes.
We came on the same boat, and Franklin Brown and his son Roger Brown, because Franklin actually saved his son, and he wouldn't have no son. Yeah, he saved his son. Franklin Brown was a young man then.
Yes.
Yeah, like in the early 40s then at the time.
Well, that's funny because you said this young lady here, she had a family member.
Yes.
And then the other one.
Not only a family member, Weber. This young lady, her great-grandfather was on the boat, and he survived named Joseph Martin. He was in the same, with me coming in show. Yeah, that was a great-grandfather.
You think she knows that?
Maybe not, I don't know.
Maybe it's good information for her then.
Yeah, her great-grandfather was Chip grandfather. His name was Joseph Martin.
Yes.
They called him Joe Martin. He was a fisherman that got on the boat and selfish.
That's not the gentleman who used to live in Quadaco.
Yes, he had married to Miss Martin there.
Yes.
You know, right there he used to live. Yeah, me and he came in the same, but he was a survivor.
Yeah, because I knew him. He lived across from the Big Rock.
Yeah, right there close to where Earl lived on the other side.
Yes.
I think his stepson built a house, built over the house.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so he was on Christina.
Yeah.
Most of the survivors are already gone, and there's only 24 hours left alive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, most of them gone already.
Well, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So let's go back at sea. So then there were a couple of boats coming and they were helping to take survivors and bodies as well.
They pick up dead and pick up those who are alive.
Yes.
They pick up both dead and alive, all that they couldn't find. They kind of brought my mother to Charleston with some other folks, with Miss Jeffers, Rose Jeffers, and some other than the money to pay in Charleston. Because I remember when I was in the hospital, they told me, look out, this year last time, mother going to the dead house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they couldn't find my brothers and my sister.
And they never did?
They never find them. Maybe shark eat them. Because shark were out there too.
Yes. It was traumatizing for you?
Oh yeah, it was not easy. No, not your breadwinner is gone and you're on your own, it was not an easy fight. I was like a refugee in my own island.
Yes.
Yeah. I was a government fear and the government then nobody did look out for me.
Yes.
50 years later, it's the same thing,
Still like, fighting.
What? Yeah. Was a government theory,
And then to go back again to sea as the boat went down. And then what was the weather like in terms of and the atmosphere? It began to get dark.
It began to get because let me see what time it was. Like after 4. Maybe like 40 minutes to 5, something the sunset early. It was cloudy at the afternoon. Everybody, you had to find somewhere before it dark. After it dark, how you can find any show? So you were lucky to get out before it dark again, you see?
Would you say what that the weather conditions contributed to that disaster? Or it was purely, in your view, the overloading of
in my view, as a small boy, it was way overloaded. Way overloaded. Yeah, it was kind of had more than 300 folks. Yeah. When it was so capacity, it was supposed to be 155.
Yes, plus the cargo.
All the cargo, like rumbies, sugar, all that, etc. So that was way overloaded. Way overloaded. And then, after the folks would have come, they brought the survivors in, and those who didn't survive. Yeah. What was it like thereafter? You lost, how many family members you lost? Well, immediate family members. I lost my mother. I lost 2 brothers and a sister, and some first cousins and something like that, and different relatives. So I had 4 immediate family members.
Yes. This is Thought That Get Results. Ozzie Tyson is a survivor of the MV Christina that sank between St. Kitts and Nevis on August 1st, 1970. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back. And if you got a question or comment, we can accommodate it on 1-869-469-1616 and 01700. We'll be back after this.
Builders Paradise is doing it again by offering a blowout sale on granite, cheaper than tiles and Formica on your counter. The man has gone crazy again. A full slab of granite is on sale for as little as $599.99. Yes! Builders Paradise also offers a special delivery for your granite. So make use of this golden opportunity while stocks last. Visit Builders Paradise today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Site, St. Kitts, or call them at 466-4938 so they can help you complete your home. Builders Paradise, where your island dreams come true.
St. Kitts, keep it sweet. Keep listening to Vaughn.
Back on this episode of Talk That Get Results with Ozzie Tyson. Ozzie Tyson is a survivor of the MV Christina disaster. The MV Christina sank traveling from St. Kitts to Nevis on August 1st, 1970. This is the 50th anniversary of that sinking of that boat. Ozzie, let's look a little now at the years after.
Yes.
You had mentioned that it was difficult for you at 11.
Yeah.
And you lost a number of your immediate family
That's
members.
Right.
How did you begin to maneuver? Who helped you? Did you go with some family members to live? Did you live on your own?
Well, I only been when my mother had left me to live with an old lady, my old lady, Mrs. Henry. Cause my mother and her daughter, her name Mrs. Griffin from St. Kitts, were a good friend. And Miss Henry was bedridden, you know. So I used to just sleep there, you know. But then she had a daughter came from England, tried to throw me out to the street. You know, I speak I have a place and decided I went to Craddock Road. Yeah, I know your mother and the whole rest of the family very well, and stayed by Rose Tyson.
Yes.
In fact, I wrote a new book, and I had to dedicate the book to Rose Tyson and Rose Brown, my mother first cousin, further down in the upstairs house in Craddock Road. So I spent a couple of years in town, about 3 years in Craddock Road, yeah.
And so you then went to school in Charlestown?
A little bit. But I had to start to go work too, you know. I didn't want to burden Miss Tyson because she had 10 children to own, plus grandchildren, plus stepchildren. All of them, you know, we all live in the same place. So I like to be an independent person from small.
Yes. So you decided, and you used to sell. You continued selling. Well,
I continued selling. Half an hour, you know, but you don't sell when it's season. Now, because of the dry weather, a bad drought, you don't get much sell because we depend on rain.
Yes.
Back in the 70s and 60s, you know, the people didn't have water like when they have water now. So if you got good rainy season, you get more fruits to sell. When you have a bad and dry year, you don't get much to sell.
Yes.
But when I used to live by the same Mrs. Henry, my uncle Carlton just tell me, go and buy Alvin Warner, and he will get little food by the week.
Yes.
Carlton Tyson, you know Mr. Tyson?
Yes.
But then after I get thrown out, all that was over with, I had to go to talk and stay by Rose Tyson.
Yes.
So, you know, we're grateful, thankful for him for what he have done.
Yes.
Yeah. A friend of my Rose Tyson, you know, she used to work by the hospital. You know, she used to work there, and a lot of other people. And every afternoon I had to go to just get the food for the pig, because she used to raise lots of pig.
Yes.
And sheep and goat, and that was the way to get along, who's right, back in those days.
And so the folks will understand that persons used to plant food, vegetables, potato, and so on.
Yeah, grow your crops.
Yes, they will eat some and sell the rest.
Some, and they didn't have so much like animals like now. You had to tie your animals.
Yes.
You see? And then you had to do, and as a kid back in those days, you had to do your chores.
Yes.
You had to do your chores. You have to help head water. Nobody got water pipe. That was only for a few. Fill up the drum, fill up the copper, whatever have to be filled up. Then you have to look after the sheep in the morning, take them out to Ramsbury pasture. Cause back in those days, Ramsbury only had 1 or 2 houses. It was Terry and mother and a lady named Miss Clark. You remember Miss Clark used to sell nuts?
Yes.
That's the Loris mother.
Yes.
You know, but only a couple houses in the Ramsbury pasture when I was a little kid growing up.
And that's where people used to pasture their sheep.
Pasture the sheep, yeah. And goat and pigs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was like a pasture at the time. And then, you know, now they have so many houses, it's all built up.
And so that was another way that people got an income.
Yes, raising animals. Raising animals. As I get older, I used to raise pig too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I used to have goats and stuff like that, yeah.
And so that persons would understand that is the income most people used to get, and that is how they survive.
Yeah, that's how they survive, because the salary was very small. I remember working for the evening for $6 a week. Yeah, right downtown. After going every morning, open the office, janitor was the manager then, sweep it out, map it up, and come back in the afternoon to close up. That was $6 a week.
Yes.
Back in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, and you had to produce.
You had to produce.
Yeah, you had to work. Then I will go on. Mr. Evil used to live by the kind of government road. He had a greenhouse there. The house is still there.
Yes.
Now I know him used to live with the family, with Charlene and her brother. And I had to go in and cut all the yard with a cutlass, the big yard. Wasn't that an easy job? And then Miss Perkins, Owen Perkins' mother.
Yes.
She used to be the chef. So she said, go down and eat that quickly before they come, Well, that's how it used to be. But not an easy life.
Yes.
Not an easy life, a tough life.
And you persevered.
Yes.
And you knew what it was if you worked hard, what you can achieve.
Yes.
And you continued straight through.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a little business, then you used to sell food and you raise your goats. But now you do other stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, we do other stuff, yeah.
Yes. You have the taxi, you have the
real estate rental, and I still the farming.
Yes.
I was going to bring you some pineapples. I don't know if you like them, so I didn't bring them, but I said if you like them, I'll get off some of the office for you.
But
I have lots of pineapples. They might not the golden one.
Well, I'll appreciate that, but this is a light moment. Don't do like a friend I have in St. Kitts. He figured that I like cricket. So when we had the World Cup, he called in and he invited me and the boys to come to see the cricket match.
Right.
But that never happened.
It never happened?
Right. So
but this is gonna happen.
I'm just telling you, it looked like people have a history of promising.
Yeah, but I don't make promises that I don't deliver.
Oh, okay. And I read a quote the other morning that a promise is comfort to a fool.
To a fool, I know.
Okay, you know
I don't know you ain't a fool, maybe you're a smart fella.
Okay, but that's just, as I said, a light moment.
Light moment, yeah.
So you persevered.
Yes.
And the last time we spoke about the first book, you told me that you had a determination.
That's right.
That you were going to build
a guest house.
Yes.
And when I told some of my friends in the middle, they laugh at me, think I'm a stupid or crazy.
Yes. And you got a lovely edifice over there at Cotton Ground.
Right.
Yes. And it's a great story.
Yeah.
Of survival. Perseverance.
Not knowing where the next meal come from.
Yes.
And work hard all the way.
Yes.
That's the only way you can succeed.
And work honestly.
That's where I'm coming from, yeah. Work honestly. Not knowing next meal come, but work honestly.
And work hard.
Work hard.
Because for a little fellow, cutting that yard with a cutlass was never going to be easy.
No, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
Yes.
But you have no choice but to know to make the best of it.
And as a testimony, you would say to the young folks and other folks who get an opportunity, they should do what?
To work. Yeah, my uncle Carlton Tyson just about to tell me, work, and when you work, you put your money to good use.
Yeah.
He always told me that. He said, because as you get older, you're going to need more to keep you going. You're not going to be able to do hard work. Now you're going to be a young man, you're a young woman.
Yes.
So I encourage the young people to work when they're young. If they don't have a job, do like what I used to do, make their own work. Work up your garden or something.
Yes.
And they were hungry. Most people got a backyard and they can plant some food,
Yes.
Yeah, they can do that. That's what they used to do. And I'm still into farming. I grow a lot of bananas, I grow lots of pineapples, I got a few hundred trees.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I grow soursop, I grow breadfruit, I grow a lot of avocado. So when they come, we get to see as well, but the pineapple is ready now.
The avocado is my favorite.
Your favorite. I have tucker and I have those Like, the ripe, they look like light yellow, and I have those that look purple when they're ripe.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're ready by like the end of September.
Yeah,
but the pineapple are ready now, so
but
I will drop them off for you.
we will see.
We'll see. You will see. Yeah, but they're always straightforward.
Yeah, well, I believe you, but it's not personal. But I just got a history. People,
right. All the promises.
They always do me that, you know.
Yeah, they do the same too, but I carry out my promises. Yeah, but it was not an easy life, you know.
Yes.
Not an easy life. I didn't get no aid from the government or the government theory. That was the saddest part.
Yes.
Nobody came to the rescue.
But along the way, though, there were talk of, funds set up to assist people who perish on the...
Yeah, I heard all that. And they were getting money from Europe, from all over.
Yes.
But I don't know what happened after Premier Bradshaw died. Everything must be fall to pieces. But they had setting up a Christina fund. I can remember clearly, but I don't know what happened after that.
Okay, Ozzy, let's try and accommodate this person, see whether or not they... Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, bless, you're on the air. Please.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, you're on the air. Could you go ahead? Yes, you're on the air.
Yes, don't you think more people could have survived if there were...
Caller, let's do this, right? Do not listen to the radio, listen to the phone. You're going to hear me and Mr. Tyson the phone. So the smart thing to do is to turn the radio or whatever you're listening on down and then talk to us, right? Because it's going to distract you.
Yes.
Okay. So let's begin again.
Yes. Don't you think that more people could have survived if there were doctors on the island at that time?
Well, I don't think so, because most of them who came in dead. Those who survived, but most of them who came in dead, because there were 200 and something people die. But most of them survived, most of them make it.
Okay.
So like 90 more than 90% who survive, they make it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, the doctors. Yeah, very interesting.
Yes, because I heard persons were saying, that same thing because they didn't have enough doctors.
Yeah, and they have enough emergency stuff.
But I think doctors came over from St. Kitts to assist and
yeah, they came in the middle of the night to help them.
Yes, and by the way, as we said that, the larger percentage of persons who perish and who were on the boat were from Nevis.
Yes. I would say about 70% was from Nevis, or 75. Yeah.
And the boats that... What was the atmosphere like in the country afterwards?
Oh, man, everybody go sleep. When the sun go down, that's what they're afraid drumbeat.
Yes.
when Christina went down, right? As soon as the dark in, you find out don't need a man or woman in the street. Yeah, because back in then they didn't have so much light as they have now. And they were saying what spirit traveling up and down, so a lot of people were scared. So they didn't go out late at night back in them time for a while. A lot of people never eat fish neither, because they figure they eat people. Yeah. A lot of people never eat fish for months, many months. Then fish I was getting the fish sell. Went very hard.
So right, because they thought that there was so many bodies in the water,
and they eat feeding on people.
That is what.
Yeah, fish didn't sell good for a while, and people didn't go out at nights for a while. Yeah, they were scared.
And so it was very traumatic.
Very traumatic,
right?
Yeah, I cried for months.
Yeah.
And they still bring tears every time they have that the memorial service. Because when they call out the names.
Yes.
There was a few guys in United Kingdom. There was in the First World War, in the trenches. I don't know if you heard about it. In the trenches. And after 90 years, some of them to be over 100 years, they're still crying. I remember I watched the memorial service. And people say, well, it's a long time with this old man crying for.
Yes.
He said all the friends were dead and they can't get over it because they still have the sanity.
Right, traumatic.
I still bring tears every time that time comes.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Herbert, and good evening, Ozzy. This is Sharon from Newcastle.
Yes.
I was myself and my aunt. We was on Christina the Friday, and my aunt said to Miss Brown, "This boat is not going to sink this afternoon. It might sink another afternoon, but not this afternoon."
Okay.
And that boat had one rolling from leave the channel until it reached Charlestown. So I thank God that
Thank God you made it.
I made it the Friday.
Okay.
So I said, I say, give God thanks for all what He has done.
Oh yeah, man, I give God thanks every day.
But
We all have to.
This is Sharon from Newcastle.
Yes,
Might I ask you a
was.
question?
Yes.
You won it on the Friday afternoon, you said, and it
Yes,
was loaded. Was it overloaded as well?
Yes, it was overloaded on the Friday. It was overloaded, and it started rolling from it. We think it's coming over. Water start coming in the boat. People start running all over, up, down. And the captain is saying, "You all sit down,
Yeah, because they roll at one side, it might capsize. That's why I tell you all sit down.
Yes. So as I said, my aunt, she was a swimmer.
Okay.
She was from Newcastle.
Oh, Miss Brown.
Miss Cider.
Miss Cider.
Yes.
Okay.
And she said to Miss Brown, because Miss Brown was think it's the turn hand too.
Okay.
That the Brown wife.
Oh, you mean Miss Brown from Jessup?
Yes.
Okay, my family.
Okay.
Yes.
That's my family, yeah.
And you know, and my aunt said, "Man, this boat not going to sink this afternoon. It might sink another afternoon."
Okay.
And it sink the Saturday.
Yeah, very sad story.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Hello. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. Calling from Gordon, Dr. Janet. I was on the boat the week before, and when you're coming up, the boat was taking in water. And Quentin told me, "Come remember them, throw everything overboard." So then throw me back to the food overboard.
Oh, really?
And I was in the water standing up crying. And I carried me back around me neck with me money. And I said, if I reach the pier, I'm going to buy back some food.
Oh, really?
So the boat always overload. I think now maybe Janet.
Yeah, I pick up the voice, Janet.
And so you were on it. You said about
And
a
the
week.
boat was way out to sea.
What was the atmosphere on the boat at that time? Were people frightened?
The water was calm, and Quentin said, don't move. If I move, the boat will sink. And everybody to stand up in the water.
Were people frightened?
Everybody was crying, so the boat not going to make it easy. That was the Friday before.
Okay.
So in your view then, when you heard, where were you when you heard that it sank on that Saturday?
Yeah, I was home and I started to cry because I was to go back in the other day to sell. I was selling mangoes and stuff. When the basket went down, everything went down, so I didn't have any basket to go back, to put the mangoes in to go back to it.
That's when they threw them overboard?
Your food.
Yeah, everything went so overboard. My basket, my food, my basket, everything went overboard.
But
So only the left basket is my money over me net. I said, me bag my money over me net.
well, I'd like to meet you because you seem like you're pretty smart. You tie the money over your neck by your neck.
Then I was 13 years at that time.
13?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because my mother they leave me 11 years, and my father went to leave us young, and he said, "Father, I one canoe. I got married again, and I got leave Ohio."
Oh boy.
Oh boy. You're the tough father.
And so at 13 you had to
I went one canoe.
oh really?
Yeah.
And you made it through.
Yeah, because I said, "Lord, Jesus, I can't swim. Please don't let the boat sink. I can't swim."
And then all through the years you did what you can to survive.
Yeah. And every time when the August come, I watch August come to me.
Oh, really?
I want to go back this Saturday.
Well,
The other way.
thank God for that. What would you say to the young folks then, who were trying to make it through? We have a difficult time right now, the pandemic, but you made it through a difficult time. So what would you say to the young people?
Work hard when you're young. Work hard when you're young.
Yes. Okay.
So I did it, and I make it.
Okay. Thank you.
I have my own house and everything.
That is wonderful. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Right. That's pretty interesting. It tells of the struggle of us as a people. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yes. We're going to make a short comment. That was a traumatic time for us, every division, whether we lived in Nevis or we lived abroad. I was in St. Croix, and that was an afternoon I was on the beach in Frederiksted. And I was listening to the radio, and it was so traumatic. I mean, I cried. But I would say to those people who may not understand or who may not know what the Christina looked like, the great artist Paul Anderson has done a tremendous job. When they pass the cemetery and they would see in the cemetery what the Christina looked like. But that boat always traveled, and going from Nevis to St. Kitts or from St. Kitts to Nevis, simply because it was said it was a riverboat, it rolled all the time. But I can't understand why they would throw the ballast or the lady basket over, which would have provided some semblance of weight to keep the boat more stable. But anyway, every person in Nevis had somebody on that boat. My uncle, from after whom I was named, Edric Liebert, who was the principal at the Bastille Boys, he went down on the boat, and I think maybe a few of his children. But like I said, I had another aunt who went down on that boat. But everybody lost somebody on that boat. I wrote a poem, but I don't have it to hand at the moment. Anyway, God bless the soul that went down. Have a good evening.
Okay.
Because you're telling a great story.
All right. You know, the book that I wrote is about some of the people that went, dedicated to the people that went down.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Mother.
Yes. Yes. Could you go ahead?
Yeah, I think the Christina disaster was
You want to do something for me, please? Your radio, whatever you're listening to, can you turn it down and speak and listen on the phone?
Okay, let me move away. Yeah, I thought I would call in, because the Christina era was a real experience for every division. I wasn't on the boat at that time, but I sailed on that boat several times, especially when the summer holidays. We used to go down to St. Kitts to spend time by our brother. And I could remember maybe around 5-6 years, they had these, what you call it, pallets inside the boat, and they holes on the side of the boat, and they call them port holes or weep holes or something. And water was always coming through. So you had to be up on top of those boats to prevent the water from getting down your one pair of shoes. I could remember one time, I don't know if you will remember, some years, I can't remember exactly what year it was, but a gentleman came down from England and he brought down one of those, what you call amphibious vehicles.
Yes.
It was a red one. And we were on the boat the Saturday morning going to St. Kitts. And the gentleman passed us going down in his car boat. And everybody was running, the Christina was on a double-decker, I will call an upstairs boat. And everybody was running on the side where the boat was passing to see this car. And the boat was going over. And I could remember one of the crewmen had to run upstairs and to make everybody go back on the side and to sit down. Or the boat would have gone straight over and sink that Saturday morning. So, that boat was never a boat for the high seas. It was a boat that was given to the St. Kitts Nevis at that time by the government in 1967. I could remember very well in school there was a book, I think it was West Indian Leader. There was a picture of that boat there where it was presented to the Nevis, St. Kitts Nevis government as a gift.
1967, you said?
I think it was somewhere around there, you know.
Yeah, why I asked that is because I was about to ask about how long the boat, was in service for before it sank.
I think it was around 1967. I think I could remember the date from the West Indian River.
Mm-hmm.
And it was never a boat for this type of water.
Because at least we got a few accounts that there were some, instances where people were scared, where you could say threatened to sink.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Right.
Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yes, the boat came before 1967 because I left Nevis in 1966, and I have sailed on the Christina several times from Nevis to St. Kitts and back.
Okay.
So it was before 1966 that boat came. It was here with the Silver Arrow, or I think Silver Arrow might have come before that or after that. But it was here before 1967 because I left Nevis, like I said, in 1966, January.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Ozzy, what's the first book is still in print, right? What's the name of the first book?
Ozzy Odyssey, My Life Before and After the MV Christina Went Down.
Okay, and this new book
is tribute to those who lost their life 50 years ago. It's a tribute to them, and dedicated to Rose Tyson of Craddock Road, Rose Brown, and Rosalind Jeffers from Jessup Village.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you about,
Okay.
deep right now.
Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yes, hold on.
Hello. Yes. Good evening.
Ozzy,
Yes?
this is first cock. It was ground.
Oh, yeah, I know your first come from Brooklyn, Survivor.
Well, me one the survivor.
I know you. Yeah.
And bra.
Yeah.
And I'm still alive.
Yeah, but to God be the glory.
And everything you say is true.
How did you feel though? How old were you when you were on that boat?
I was turning 20.
And you could swim?
Yeah, man. What do you know first cock, man?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know you could swim. So that's why. Yeah.
I just shoot fish. I just go on sea. And the other year I went on the NV car boat. I come over on the NV car boat the other year. The 1st of August, 1971.
But what were you doing in St. Kitts?
I went to see the car boat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the car when you come over to me.
You're talking about the Amphicar they used to call it.
Yeah.
The Amphicar. I remember when it came.
Yeah.
And
I was the one that will come over with the man.
Okay.
So you were you scared?
I went to St. Kitts to look a tire from a bicycle.
Okay.
That Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
but I always just go to St. Kitts to look for my grandfather.
And you used to travel on the MV Christina before?
Yeah. I started to travel on the MV Christina when I was about 7 years, 8 years.
And did you ever have any close calls? Some folks said they were on it before at other times when it, was rolling and it seemed like it was going to sink. Did you ever see
I traveled on Filipano and Christina at the same time. You understand?
Yeah.
Filipano and Christina was running at the same
I remember this
venue in the 50s.
Yes.
Late 50s.
How did you make it out? Did a fishing boat pick you up? Did you swim to shore or what?
Well, we have been almost with shore. Because I helped a lot of people. I didn't drown and whatnot.
Yes.
I used to go there almost every day to shoot fish. So I never powered over it in the sea.
Well, how did it affect you afterwards, having seen a lot of dead bodies in the sea and so on and so forth?
Well, I still remember some of the people who I know. You understand?
Yeah.
Even in my sleep, I just see them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
it still haunts you.
To a memorial service nothing at all, because I just keep it cool as that.
Yes.
But you know me well.
Yes. Okay, well, thanks for that input.
All right, Weber. Weber.
Yes.
Then interview me here that then going to show something for me and Bradley and Christina sometime I think it's the 1st of August.
Oh, okay.
Television.
Okay, very, very good.
Yeah.
All right.
So, anyway, thanks, David, for everything.
Okay.
Right, okay. Nice hearing your
Thank
voice,
you and
man.
all the best to you.
And thanks.
All right. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Weber.
Yes.
Auntie, how are you?
Well, to God be the...
To France, speaking. I had a nephew and a niece on it. The niece died. The nephew name is Livingston France. Yes, but he's not on the survival list.
Okay.
And my brother traveled on it already, and he said the same thing happened. The boat was overloaded, things were floating out, and he was just there waiting to see somebody jump off, for him to jump off. When he didn't come back up on the boat, he came back up, and the man, what is title now? From Westbury, Taylor.
Oh, Sammy Taylor, but Unity.
He and this boy named Orville Muriel, but I think it's changed his name now.
Okay.
They came up on that boat.
Unity.
The boat was always
Overloading, yeah. Always rolling.
Yes.
So it was a practice.
Yes, my niece's name was Jessica Doe.
Okay.
And my nephew was Livingston France, but he survived.
He survived.
Yes.
And where is he now?
He's in St. Kitts.
Okay.
He used to play basketball.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
Then,
that
bye.
input. Yes. A pattern is happening here. Folks are saying that it was always overlaid. Hello,
You see, I think when you guys sell on the boat, the ticket, okay.
You know, it was a real scary afternoon time in Levis that Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
I could remember at the age of 13, I was 13, we were over at Will Parkers for the young boys who were playing cricket in the road, you know how those days were.
Yes.
And it was, remember a man we used to call Grey Cook?
Well, not really.
Well, okay, I will tell you who he
Edric
was.
probably remember him, but go ahead.
Was Louis Newton's father, Mr. Newton.
Oh, okay, all right, yes.
He had just got I think it was a Austin Cambridge, and he was the one who came out and said, "Why, Christina Fink?" And every one of us, we young boys, we drop our bat and we head for home. It was a scary afternoon and a scary night, and we head for home. And you know that Friday night, my mother used to go to St. Kitts to sell in Tunham. And there was a lady down at the bottom of the road. She came in the morning and she said she had a dream. She said the amount of water that was running around her house, something was going to happen. And you know, my mother didn't go to St. Kitts that Saturday.
Really?
Because if she had gone, that would have been the end of her. I mean, what would have happened to us? We didn't have a father. You know, it was a set of us. You know, I mean, it would have been a real difficult time for us. And you know, and you could remember those things. It was a real difficult time, a scary time, and I mean, that Saturday afternoon, right down to the evening.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for that input. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Andrew, I think Livingston Sergeant had met that as well.
Pardon me?
Livingston Sergeant.
Yes. Livingston Sargent was on the boat. And also his nephew, Laughton Sargent, who goes to went school with me. Yeah, it was uncle and nephew, and both of them saved. Laughton Sargent, he live in the States. They have a band up in Washington, D.C. And Livingston Sargent retired. He's in St. Kitts.
Yeah, I think Francis was on that boat as well.
Pardon me?
Yeah,
Francis.
Francis.
Ozzy?
Yes?
A final word, because we gotta
make room for the other folks.
Yes, we gotta guess. All right, so what's the final word?
Yeah, my final is thank you for inviting me back, and the folks can look out for the new book as a tribute to those that lost their life 50 years ago.
How can they get it?
Well, I'll have it by now on Friday.
Okay.
By now on Friday. I'll bring a copy for the station as well.
Okay. Look like you're going to bring a lot of things.
A lot of stuff for you.
It is so good to have you.
All right. It's good to have for you to invite me to.
Yes.
And I appreciate it because the young people, as I said before you go, the young people need to know what happened back then and how good they have life when I, as a young person, didn't know where the next meal coming from.
Yes.
But I went and worked hard and still working hard to overcome the odds.
Okay.
Thank you and God bless you.
All right.
And you all have a good night.
Thanks once more.
Good.
Ozzie Tyson, survivor of the MV Christina disaster. Join us next Tuesday evening for another edition. This program repeats tomorrow at 10 o'clock following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening for On the Mark. Thank you all again for joining us. This is your voice in the community. Talk that get results. We now go to Leadership Matters, a program of the Team Unity Administration, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. You all have a wonderful evening.